and bred like 45 supporters would know that this is true. 45 has never been good at governing and has never been able to fulfill the mourner-in-chief role. But wasn't he a better liar and more clever grifter than once upon a time? No, he was not. He still fucking isn't. His shenanigans now create easy layups for his opponents. On Wednesday, it appears the White House attempted to retroactively justify a tweet that 45 issued over the weekend in which he warned erroneously that Alabama would be affected by Hurricane Dorian, which they weren't. In a White House video released Wednesday, 45 displays a modified National Hurricane Center cone of uncertainty forecast dated from 11 a.m. on August 29th indicated Alabama would in fact be affected, which they weren't. The graphic appears to have been altered with the Sharpie to indicate a risk the storm would move into Alabama from Florida, which it didn't. This is just dumb. People understand something as simple as he doctored the map, which you could tell in the video he actually did. That he actually doctored it. It's both trivial and serious. His followers don't give a shit and so petty that his inbred supporters are reminded that 45's ego is more frail than ever, and trying to deny wrongdoing or error, he cannot help but underscore his mistakes and then double down with a blatant lie. His opponents can barely contain their glee with the breadcrumbs 45 has scattered down the path to impeachment or prosecution or defeat in 2020. In a written statement released Wednesday night, Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who's a Democrat from California, blasted 45. First 45 suggested holding the Group of Seven summit at his Doral Golf Resort in Florida. Now the White House is walking back the previous statement that 45 personally suggested that Vice President dumbass Mike Pence stay at his Dunebirg Hotel in Ireland, which would yet be another example of the squatter self-dealing. Vice President dumbass Mike Pence promised that their administration would defend the Constitution and stand by strict constructionist interpretation of the Constitution. None of them has followed that Constitution anyway, and I can guarantee you they wouldn't be able to quote any of it. Instead, the 45 Pence administration is ignoring the text itself and selling out the Constitution to line 45's own pockets. Pelosi then goes on to list all of 45's offenses in a concise term, perfect for a cut and paste into articles of impeachment. First one is violating the Constitution, emoluments clause. 45 is violating the domestic and foreign emoluments clause of the Constitution by accepting and encouraging foreign governments to pay to stay at 45 resort properties without congressional approval. More than 200 members of Congress are fighting in the courts to defend their Constitution and put an end to 45's abuse of power. Influence peddling. 3 members of 45's Mar-a-Lago inner circle of billionaire donors have undue influence over policy, projects, and decision-making by VA leadership, including impacting a $10 billion contract. American taxpayers are footing the bill for 45's extravagance. According to the GAO, 45's trips to Mar-a-Lago cost on average $3.4 million per visit, and his golf at least $105 million as of July 2019, due to security expenses, travel on Air Force One and Marine One, and the frequency of his games. 45 exploits undocumented workers. For decades, the 45 organization exploited undocumented immigrants to pad its bottom line. It did so in possible violation of civil and criminal law. And yet the 45 administration hypocritically attacks immigrants to score political points and refuses to work constructively with Congress to enact comprehensive immigration reform that would help bring undocumented workers out of the shadows. Suspected Chinese spy causes national security threat at Mar-a-Lago. 45's properties are a national security risk between a credible threat of espionage when a suspected Chinese spy gained access to Mar-a-Lago and 45's reckless handling of sensitive information during publicly attended events at his properties. And then 45 goes forward with his own unilateral scheme to lift money from disaster funds and Pentagon projects to fund the litigation will take years. The Pentagon is defunding Hurricane Maria recovery projects at military installation in Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands to pay for 45's border barrier, and has also taken money from construction projects across Europe designed to help allies deter Russia. Moreover, the squatter is also taking money out of Republican states and districts. The perfect fodder for Democratic campaign ads in 2020. The details of the 127 military construction projects that stand to lose funding to free up $3.6 billion for fencing and barriers in the southern border with Mexico were made public late Wednesday by the Defense Department. The list features projects in 23 states, 3 U.S. territories, and 20 countries. The list of delayed unfunded programs read like a list of things voters like the military to get money for: schools on military bases, the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, New York, a cyber ops facility in Virginia, and a missile defense field expansion, to name a few. 45 is not even savvy enough to spare Republicans at risk in 2020. One of the Senate's most endangered Republicans in the 2020 election, Arizona Senator Martha McSally. Georgia, where two potentially competitive Senate races loom next year, would be spared entirely. Though powerful Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, himself facing re-election, would lose a $63 million middle school at Fort Campbell. What good is being elected the Majority Leader of the Senate if you cannot even protect a school for military families? No wonder so many Republicans are announcing their retirements on Wednesday. Bill Flores of Texas, along with F. James Sensenbrenner of Wisconsin, the second longest serving House member, said they wouldn't run for re-election. The number of Republicans retiring in the House is now up to 12, including 2 of only 13 Republican congresswomen. 45 is flailing, so he compounds errors, makes new ones at an alarming rate. The Republicans whose support he needs. About the only comparable case of political malpractice comes from Britain, where 45's favorite right-wing populist buddy, Prime Minister Boris Johnson, lost his first 3 votes. The seized Parliament nixed a no-deal Brexit, called for special elections, leaving him apathetic figures with few cards to play. At this rate, Johnson will likely make his predecessor, Theresa May, look like Winston Churchill, whose grandson Johnson just kicked out of the Conservative Party by comparison. There we have the twin populists full of bravado and short on logic and facts, both in political death, spiral of their own making. If only someone had warned their supporters they were making fraudulent bargains with incompetent devils.